Hello class, so we'll continue our math lesson, and today we'll be looking at quadrilaterals, how to identify quadrilaterals.
Previous slide. Rectangle, for instance, has for two pairs of parallel sides. Square also, rhombus also, parallelogram also. Kite doesn't have any more. It doesn't have any parallel sides. So you realize that it's only
It's a single pair of parallel sides. Now, which shapes have two pairs of parallel sides? So we have just looked at that. So parallelogram, rectangle, and then square all have what? Two pairs of parallel sides. Then which shapes have two pairs of parallel sides and also have four square corners? So that would be rectangle and then what? And then square. Now, which shapes have what? Four sides which are equal in length. So all the sides are equal in length. So that's square as well as rhombus. So rhombus is almost like what? A brother to square. Take note, but they are different. So we look at the difference between a rhombus and then a square. Although they all have the same, they all have all their four sides being equal in length, but there is a difference between the two. Maybe let me put this question to you. So which of the shape has no parallel sides? So I think we answered that. So that is what? The kite. Kite has no what? Now let's move on, identifying quadrilaterals. So just like what I said in the introduction, so if you look at the first shape, which is like a dart, it has four sides, so it qualifies as a quadrilateral. It also qualifies as what? A quadrilateral. Now the second one is a trapezoid, or what we said that is it's also trapezium. So it has just a single parallel side, or just one pair of parallel sides. So you have that also here, and another one, isosceles trapezoid. So from the name isosceles, it tells you that two sides are equal. So you could see that on the slide, isosceles trapezoid. Now parallelogram also, you would notice that it has two pairs of parallel. So that's what we're talking about. So that's indicated by the short dashes. It tells you that the opposite sides are equal. Yeah, so the down they are equal, the side are equal. So that's for the parallelogram. Then when you come to the kites, the kites is also such that two sides are also equal. So these, you could see that we have marked them by two dashes. So the two dashes, all the sides having the two dashes are actually equal in length, and then the one with the one single dashes are also equal. So that's one way to identify a kite. So a kite will be such that it would have two sides. Remember, it's a quadrilateral, so it would have four sides. Now two of the sides are going to be equal, and then another two, the remaining two, are also going to be equal in length. So what this means is that if, let's say, the longer side, if that side is 5 cm, the other is also going to be 5 centimeters, then down there perhaps maybe it's 3 centimeters, the other side also is going to be 3 centimeters. So that's how you identify a kite. Now, so a rhombus, which we said is a sister to square, you realize that all the sides are equal. All the sides are equal. Then you come to rectangle. Rectangle also, it's only the opposite sides which are equal. So down are equal, side are equal. So they are opposite each other, they are facing each other. Those are the sides which are equal. That's for a rectangle. And also you see the right angles that we are talking about, the square corners, indicated by the square over there. And also a square as indicated by the two short dashes. So you see all of the sides have the two short dashes, telling you that all the sides are equal. Then also they all have the right angle. All the four angles are right angles. So that's one thing to note about squares. All four angles are right angles, or are equal to 90 degrees. So obviously the sum of all the angles inside the square is going to 360 degrees. Alright, so we are going to take them one by one. So so take note that the angles in the quadrilateral all add up to 360. So that's what I just said. So if you like the square, for instance, so 90, 90, 180, 90, 90, 180, 180, 180, 360 degrees. So we know that the examples are square, rectangle, parallelogram, rhombus, trapezium, and then kite. All these are quadrilateral, four side shape. So let's take the square first and look at it in detail. Now a square is the only regular quadrilateral. Regular in the sense that all the sides are equal all the angles are what, are also equal. So that's the meaning of what it being a regular quadrilateral. So an irregular quadrilateral besides that it wouldn't have all the sides being equal. It wouldn't also have all the angles also what, being equal. But the square is just the only quadrilateral which is what, which has all the sides equal, all the angles equal. So we call that a regular quadrilateral. And also all the sides, as we said, are equal to 90 degrees, right angles. And also the opposite sides are parallel. They are parallel to one another. And also the diagonals. So the diagonals refer to, you see the short dashes in purple, those are the diagonals. So it cuts through the square into two halves. So you would realize that you can create two diagonals. So a square would have two diagonals. Now when these two diagonals cross or intersect, that's what we mean by they bisect. So bisect means that they are going to be divided into two. So when they intersect, they will bisect each other at an angle of 90 degrees. That's why we have the small square there. That's why you have the small square there. So if you have a quadrilateral which looks like a square, but if you draw the diagonals, they don't bisect each other at 90 degrees, then it is not a square. Take note of this little details. If the diagonals don't bisect each other at 90 degrees, then it isn't a square. Then take note, the diagonals are also equal in what? In length. The diagonals are equal in length. So there are some of the quadrilaterals that the diagonals will not be equal in length. So take note. But as for square, the diagonals are equal in. Okay, so let's look at the sister of a square, which is rhombus. So rhombus also has all the sides being what? Of equal length. All the sides are of equal length. Now also the opposite sides are all parallel. So the sides facing each other. So the down is parallel. The side are also what? Parallel. Now take note that the angles. So this is one unique difference between rhombus and then a square. It's one of the ways you can tell between a rhombus and then a square. A rhombus is such that diagonally the opposite angles are equal. In other words, all the angles, the four angles that form this quadrilateral, they are not the same. Rather, the ones which are facing each other are the same. So that's the opposite. The ones which are opposite each other, so like the green, the one has been colored green, and then the other one which is green would be of the same size. So the yellow would also have the same measurement, or would be the same angle. So take note of that. So rhombus, this is how you realize the square. If you remember from the previous slide, the square is such that all the angles are 90 degrees, all the angles are the same. But for a rhombus, it's just the angles facing each other, the opposite angles which are equal. Now with this one also, just like this, so the diagonals are such that they bisect each other at 90 degrees. So when the diagonals cross, the purple dashes, like the dashes over there, when they cross, that's the diagonal. When they bisect each other, they form an angle of 90 degrees. So the short dashes over the two short dashes and then the single short dashes would indicate that the diagonals may not be of the same length like the way squares are. So that's also another way of that. Then differentiating between a rhombus and then a square, the fact that the diagonals, the length of the diagonals are not equal. All of the diagonals are not equal in length. That's for a rhombus. But for a square, the diagonals that are formed are all equal in length. Now let's look at a rectangle. So a rectangle, just like a square, would also have all its angles being 90 degrees. And with this one, to the opposite sides are equal in length. They have equal length. So the top, the side, all of them have equal length. Meaning that if, let's say, the top side is 5 centimeters, the downside will be 5 centimeters, but not the side. So the side could be possibly, let's say, 3 centimeters and then 3 centimeters. And also the opposite sides are parallel, so that's obvious. That's indicated by the arrows, the single arrows and then the double arrows. So that is that. Now also, it also has diagonals. So you see that the diagonals here bisect each other, alright, but they do not bisect each other at 90 degrees. So there's no indication over there. So that's also one difference between a rectangle and then a square. The diagonals they form for a rectangle do not bisect each other at 90 degrees like the way it is in square and then in rhombus. Now you would also realize that it's because of the single short dashes, it will tell you that the diagonals are going to be of the same length. So the diagonals are equal in length. Let's take note of that. Now let's look at a parallelogram. So for a parallelogram, you would have the opposite angles being equal. So this is just like rhombus. I mean like the fact that the opposite angles are equal. So that's one common feature that a parallelogram has with a rhombus. The opposite angles are equal. Then also the opposite sides are equal in length, shown by the double arrows. So top down, top, and then side, the single arrows, showing that the opposite sides are of equal length and also parallel. The diagonals also bisect each other, alright, but as you can see, because there is no square there, it shows that for a parallelogram the diagonals do not bisect each other at 90 degrees, and also they will not be of equal length. Then trapezium is one quadrilateral that can easily be distinguished by the fact that it has just a single pair of parallel sides. So it's just, you have just a pair of parallel sides which are opposite, so top, and then that's all. So it means that the side can be slanted down any way, but as far as the top is they are parallel, then it qualifies as a trapezium. So you take note of the one that was in the diagram from the beginning. There was one called the isosceles trapezoid. So you realize that with that one, it had a pair of parallel sides, but the slanted sides were actually equal in length. That's why we said they were isosceles trapezoid, but it's still trapezoid because it has just one pair of opposite sides. Then we come to kite. So with kite, two pairs of sides are of equal length. So that's what we said. So that's what is indicated by the single short dashes, showing that those two sides are equal in length. Then when you come beneath, the sides which has been indicated by two short dashes are also equal in length. So that's that's how kites are. So kites are such that two of their sides are equal in length, and the remaining two sides are also equal in length. Now you would also see that one of the diagonals, so only one diagonal is bisected by the other, and also the diagonals cross at 90 degrees. So you can see that that's why we have the square over there crossing at 90 degrees. Now another unique feature about kite is also the fact that it's just one pair, just a pair of the opposite angles which are equal. So it means that the top angles, the angles at the top, the angle at the top and then the angle at the bottom will not be equal. It's just the angles at the side and side which are going to be equal. So that's why we are saying that one pair of diagonally opposite angles is equal, just one pair. So let's try to classify this now. So the yellow one, what is it? So that is a square. Then the blue, so that will be what? A kite, just like what we said. Then the following one, the third one, so that's what is it, cream or? So that's going to be a parallelogram. Then the fourth one, the green one, so you would realize that this is looking like a trapezium, but it's not a trapezium because it doesn't have a pair of parallel sides, so you can't classify that as a trapezium, but it's a quadrilateral. So you could say that this is an irregular quadrilateral because all the sides are not equal, none of the sides are equal, and obviously none of the angles are also good, but it's a quadrilateral, an non-regular quadrilateral. Then the purple one is also a parallelogram. Then the red one is a trapezium. Then the last one is a rectangle. Alright, so you have come to the end of our lesson. So check out the assignment on this lesson from the Google Classroom, and then you get it done within the set day. So in case you don't understand anything, let me know on the private comment on the Google Class platform, and then I can help you out.